Previously on... Well, hello there. My big account is like in Vanguard, and my wife won't let me share that publicly. My wife won't let me share that publicly. My wife won't let me share that publicly. And that is the topic of today's video. For some reason, which I do not completely understand, my wife doesn't want me to disclose or talk about or really give too much information about our investment account, which makes this a little bit problematic. I'm trying to make a YouTube channel here partially about investments. Hey Liz, do you mind if I share what's in the big investment account with the YouTube channel?
I do care, yeah.
Well, why?
I don't think anyone should know how much money you have.
I mean, it's okay because the channel's just about, it's just like talking about money. So it's, we're just talking about money. Good trades, bad trades. It's okay to talk about money, right?
That's kind of rude.
Whoa, wait a minute. Talking about money is rude? How could talking about money be impolite? Money is such a large part of our lives. I mean, think about it. It can cause us huge stress and anxiety, or it can be a relief. It can be a real blessing, and maybe for some people, a real curse. How could something so important, something that we literally spend all our days working at jobs, at careers, we study through college to set ourselves up for life in the pursuit of what? Money. Not really money, but money for the purpose of security, for the purpose of stability, for the purpose of the people we love. How could it be rude to talk about that? How could it be impolite to discuss money? Is this a widely held belief? It can't just be my wife, right? So, I asked one of the smartest, most insightful people, or couple of people, that I know.
Hi.
Hey, Ollie, do you think it's polite to talk about money?
Not right now.
Leo, do you think it's polite to talk about money?
Yeah. Because when you talk about money, people, sometimes it's rude and offensive to people. And if you talk about how much money you have, some other people might be sad they don't have as much money as you.
So
it's kind of rude.
Well, okay, I guess it's not just my wife, but this gets me thinking, where did I learn about money? Hey, Dad.
Yes, son.
Hey, let me ask you a question. When you were growing up, did your parents teach you about money?
Nope. No financial education whatsoever.
So, how did you learn, like, how to handle money, how to, balance a checkbook, how to, save for retirement? Where'd you learn that?
Well, started with a checking account that I had with my first girlfriend, who didn't realize you had to subtract monthly payment fees. But I put in $100. What do you mean it bounced?
What about when I was a kid? Did you try to teach me about money or checkbooks or banking?
I don't believe I did. I think you got all that education when you went to college and then coming into the business.
Yeah.
All my parents have been through running the business. All the trial and errors and mistakes that small business owners make at the beginning, you learn by School of Hard Knocks.
That business my dad was talking about was a business he started out of the bedroom of his house. It's funny, I remember actually growing up, and he would work all hours, all the time. And at one point, we just had hundreds and hundreds of boxes of pants and shirts and shoes in our living room. Our house was overrun with boxes. That was my dad, just figuring out things as he went, figuring out how to make a business. That business later became where I worked after college for years, how I supported my family, he supported his. It sold millions of dollars of things per year and employed at one time about 25 or 30 people. It's been very successful. He still has that business today. I consider myself fortunate for a lot of different reasons, but one in particular is that I find subjects like money, investing, business, all to be fascinating. I have ever since a young age. I first noticed that I really gravitated towards strategy games like Risk and Monopoly. I loved it. In fact, I played Monopoly so much as a child that eventually I just figured it out. This is a game about cash flows. Whoever has the most cash will eventually lose the game, until the end, when one person who has the most cash flow will eventually pin the other guy. That's the secret to Monopoly if you didn't know. Don't hang on to your cash. Buy as much property as you can and hope you don't go bankrupt. That is a game purely about cash flow. But I get it. Not every 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old loves Monopoly or digs Risk. Strategy games aren't for everybody. And these topics, money, business, finances, I get that they can be boring for some people. In any case, though, let me share with you 3 lessons I've learned about money in my life that have been real unlocks for me. Number 1, money can't buy happiness, but it certainly helps. I'm not trying to be funny. Actually, not having enough money can be very stressful. It can be a huge weight on people. Not knowing if you're going to be able to pay your rent one month. Not knowing if your business is going to go under. If you're going to be able to make payroll. These can be incredibly stressful things that people can be carrying. You can just see them. A lot of times they're weighed down. But having enough, having a buffer and having savings, having some investments to fall back on, this can be the difference between making the best choice and making the safest choice. And I've learned those are not always the same thing. Number 2, if you need more money, try to make more of it. Like, this is very simple, but I can't tell you how many people I know are broke and then they just complain about it. Sure, you can do a budget, but sometimes what's really going to help is just making more money. I know for me personally, I lived on a budget for years and I still do. It's super helpful, but I got to the point where I just needed to make more money to hit the goals that I needed. I couldn't buy any less clothing, any less shampoo. I couldn't take any less vacations because 0 was how many I was taking. I remember this one time where my wife came home and she said, HW, I want to have a home birth. She was about 6 months pregnant with our firstborn. I had no idea what that meant, but we started reading up about it and I found out that our insurance wouldn't cover it. I was going to have to come up with $5,000 to make this happen for her, and she felt very strongly. This is what she wanted to do. Okay, fine. We went a little hippy-dippy for a couple months there. We came out the other side. But that $5,000 was all the money in the world to me. I remember at the time we had bought a house, what we could afford. I'm so glad we bought that house, our first home, but we were so stretched financially. We were making okay money, but it was very expensive to live in the San Francisco Bay Area where we were at the time. We had leaks in the windows in the back, and I remember we just kept trying to not fix it because we didn't really have the money to do a whole job and do it well. I sold the only thing I had of value at the time, and I was lucky I had it, because if I didn't have these silver coins, and silver had gone way up in value, if I didn't have these silver coins that I had been collecting, I wouldn't have been able to find the money. I literally sold it to some weird hippie guy in front of a Starbucks. I had a buddy come along and hide around the corner for protection. It was a very strange experience, but I was lucky I had that money. Without knowing it, I had actually some backup investment in that silver. And it turned out that when I needed it, it was there. It saved me a lot of stress. And to this day, I believe I would regret if I could not have helped my wife have sort of the birth experience that she wanted. For women, that's very important. I at the time didn't really fully understand what was the big deal. You know, you have a baby in a hospital, you have a baby at home with a midwife. What's the difference? But for her, it was what she wanted. And my job as a husband was to provide for her in any way I could. I sold that silver, I made it happen. But that's really taught me lesson number 2 here. If you can make more money, make it. If I had a way, I had the way to make that $5,000. I had a way to really sell it and realize it, but I had been buying silver and hunting through boxes and boxes of coins to find those old nickels and dimes and half dollars that had silver in them. And I had amassed a lot of silver. That became my little side hustle at the time. The other day, a guy came by. He delivered a DoorDash order I had for lunch, and he was in a construction truck. He came to my door, dropped the food off, and he left. And I started thinking, that guy's in like a construction truck. He's all dirty. His tools were out. I mean, he looked like he just came off a job site. And I realized, that guy's getting free lunch. He turns the DoorDash app on at the job site, and boom, there's an order from Panda Express. Well, that means he's about to get paid to go to Panda Express, so why not get your lunch there too? I noticed he was drinking Panda Express, the same place he was delivering food from to me as he left in his car. And I thought, that's genius. He's literally getting paid to go eat lunch, or he's just getting a free lunch. I don't know how the dollars work out, but if you can, it helps to make more money. Grab a side hustle. It's never been easier. Do Uber, do DoorDash. I mean, there's so many things you can do. Start investing. Look into cash secured puts, covered calls. You don't need a ton of money to really start trying to produce a couple extra $100 a week. It's super doable. And that brings me to point number 3. And this is by far the most important. You must invest. I repeat, you must invest. I've thought about making t-shirts that say invest or die because I really believe in that. In fact, I think I'm going to design that. Invest or die needs to become a saying on this channel. Investing is not an option. It is essential for life. Think about this. Money is a tool. Money is a tool to get the things you need for the people you love. It gets your kids a good education. It gets them clothing, sustenance, a roof over their head. It takes care of our spouses, our loved ones, our parents, our brothers, our sisters, even people outside our family that we care about, people who may not be able to care for themselves. Money is incredibly useful in helping you achieve the things you want to achieve. And you, my friend, well, you're on a limited schedule because you are getting older. See, right now, these hands, they can go out and do manual labor. I can drive Uber at night. I can survive on not a ton of sleep. Next week, I'll be 35, and I'll tell you, from 25 to now, it's a lot harder to not get that sleep. I can do it, but it gets a lot harder. Also, I really have to start thinking about the things I put into my body because now they really affect the way I feel. They didn't before. But that's only going to keep happening. And one day I'm going to be 45, 55, 65, and my ability to push myself, to physically put stress on this body, stay up late, work 18 hours, hustle, do 2 jobs, work Uber on the side, that's going to go away. I'm going to get weaker and weaker and weaker until I'm so weak I can hardly breathe. That's just the reality of being a person. But what that means is when you start life, you don't know a ton. You don't have a lot of skills. You've got a ton of hard work in you. And that's what you use. And as your career goes on and on and on, you can make more money. But if you don't save it, and if you don't, more importantly, invest it, when you get to the end of your life, you will not have dignity. And dignity is something we all deserve. There are very few people in America who should not be able to retire with dignity. You must invest. You must find extra money, either by taking on another source of income, doing a little Uber on the side, taking one less vacation, not having Starbucks. You must put that money to work for you because eventually, you will not be able to make enough money for yourself, let alone other people. And if there are still people relying on you, what then? I mean, you've blown it. You've failed. And I'm not into that. I don't want to fail. I want me and my wife and my kids and everyone around me, my city, my community, my church, I want them all to be blessed from what I have, what I can give, what I can offer them, and what I can leave behind. You must invest. You must immediately start using a Roth IRA. You must immediately take advantage of your 401k. If you are not investing, you gotta Google this stuff. You gotta watch YouTube and figure it out. Because your money will eventually get larger than you and start making more money than you can make. And that, my friends, will give you an amount of freedom that will just blow your mind when you're not punching the clock and working for Friday. But when you're working for an idea that maybe you could help a kid have food who doesn't, when you could help a kid who doesn't have a wheelchair get one. I mean, these are the types of things you can do. And money is the tool that helps you do it. This isn't at all a sort of let's get rich quick, type of video or channel, or look how easy money is to come by. No, that's internet hype. That's like Instagram BS. This is real talk. Money can help you change the world into the world you want to see. Gandhi said, be the change. Well, I'd like to think it helps to have change and some dollars to really make that happen. Well, I've been HW. Thanks so much for watching. Well, hello there. And I hope to see you on the next video. I'll probably have an update on those cash secured puts we were talking about. HW out.
Should I be saying this on a camera?